ELIAS, guitars from Anoxia. Got James on bass, and we've got our debut album, Revel In Sin, out in a week, the 17th of April.
Beautiful, guys. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
No worries. So as you mentioned, Anoxia released your debut full-length album, Revel In Sin, on April the 17th. So she ain't far away, bro. How you feeling about it?
Very excited. So we released our EP on in February 2023. So it's a little while now. Just been touring a lot, playing a lot of shows. Took some time off to write and came up with Revel In Sin. So very excited to. We feel like it's a next level in our progression as a band and just as musicians writing, just growing, fusing our death metal style, old school death metal style with some thrash metal elements as well. James came on board last August just in the finalization of the writing stage as well. So he'll be on deck for the album as well. So no, we're excited.
Very nice. And can you tell us a bit more about it from a musical point of view and what you're actually going for this time?
Sure. So we're all about the old school early 90s US death metal. So we're just building on that. The EP was 4 songs, which we're proud of. The album is just us leveling it up a bit in terms of speed, diversity, dynamics. So very much in the vein of the EP, but just a few notches up from where we left off. So very much in the death, Morbid Angel, Suffocation type of sound. Got lots going on. There's just different dynamics, fast in some paces, slow, just changing it up, but all about those hooks and just keeping it intense.
Yeah, cool. So you released a single, Ruled by Cold Steel. So is that a good sonic representation of what to expect, or is that just one of the layers?
Might let James answer this one, actually.
Yeah, well, that's actually the perfect song to choose because during the mixing process, we mixed all of the levels and all of our tones off that one song, and then we copied that over to the rest of the album. So really what you're hearing is the sound we went for the whole album. So I think it really is the perfect tonal sound and mix. And then also in terms of the writing that we went for on this new album being just that bit faster, maybe that bit more technical, and just keeping that old school sound.
Yeah, nice. Nice. And the album actually opens with the title track, Revel In Sin, mate. So why choose that song to represent the whole body of music? Like, what was so special about that one?
So I think that was one of the ones when we brought it into the rehearsal room to start building on it. It was the one I think that caught our attention first, just because a lot going on. There's a lot of thrashy parts in there. Then there's just that slammy, groovy hook in there. So just quite diverse with what's going on. Really catchy in terms of how the lyrics are delivered. Just the differences in riffs, as well as that there's a cool solo. It's just really catchy, but also straight in your face and pummeling. So we thought it'd be a good single because of how catchy it is and how diverse it is with what's going on musically.
Mm-hmm. You sort of touched on this a little bit, guys, but I want to elaborate a little bit further. Like, how does Revel In Sin differ musically to Languish In Suffering? You mentioned progression a few times, but how specifically?
Yeah, I might pass it on to James. Just being, I guess, newer in the band, just fresher set of ears and eyes. Just
Yeah, I guess just more so really dialing down on that old school sound. Like it's constant riffs and there's hooks and there's, really, classic elements that you hear in those old school death metal albums. And I think it's a progression from what we wanted from the EP, like what the album is, really covers what Anoxia wants to be, I guess, heard as. So that's how I would say we progressed musically as a band from the EP as well. And then, having to write a whole album versus just an EP is also a massive step up as well. A lot of that's from ELIAS as well. Pretty much all that's from ELIAS. Coming in for me with everything pre-written, I just wrote all my bass on top. I put in my own elements and put my own character. I put a bass solo in there and some tappy elements. So I definitely put my own mark on it. But a lot of that, all that writing the riffs and everything and songwriting, that's all ELIAS. So it's definitely a big step up from just a simple EP.
Oh. And as a band, like, what's your thought process going into your first album? Like, do you plan things out? Like, do you sit and listen to EP and rip it apart and find what worked and what didn't, and then try and take that through to the next one, or do you just treat it like a fresh body of work?
Yeah, a bit of both. So we look back at the EP, like you said, what worked, what didn't, what the strengths were. And then because an album requires a lot more diversity and B, just a longer product in itself, what we wanted to include, what we want to grow on. So there are those hooks from the EP, but then there's things that we haven't done before, like just some really, really fast parts, and then just a long song that has big outro just to finish the album off. That might be a bit of a spoiler there, but just different elements and flavors that we could put in because time allowed us to,
Yeah.
as well as having the ability just to take a step back and solely focus on writing. With the EP, it was different because you're trying to get your brand out there and your name out there. We were playing shows whilst in the recording and mixing phase as well. So it was a combo of trying to do both, whereas the album allowed us just to step back and just solely focus on a product that we're proud of and put every bit of energy we could into it. But then we could do that and then step back after, let it go through mixing, and then solely focus on touring and promoting it far and wide, which is the aim now.
Yeah, nice. Now, you mentioned a few bands before too, but your sound has been compared to Morbid Angel, Suffocation, and Death. But as a band sort of trying to make their mark in the death metal scene, like they're obviously the bands that are going to influence you, but how do you put your own spin on things to make the music more your own?
I'll start and I'll pass it on to James, but at least from my perspective, what helps us as a band is we got our core group of bands that the four of us love and just listen to a lot, but then we all have our own bands that each one goes off to and listens to. So it kind of changes it a bit in terms of how we approach and write things and maybe creative ideas. But we look at the bands we love as a building block, but then we also look at what we want to do. So we all love death metal, but we also love thrashy, fast stuff as well. So it's combining those two. But with our main aim is just to keep the songs catchy. We've been told through punters and just peers that the number one thing that keeps people hooked is that our set list and our music is quite catchy, which can be rare for death metal. Death metal usually has its purist fans and very nitpicky fans, which is great. But then also it's quite refreshing just to hear that our songs are catchy, even from people that wouldn't necessarily listen to death metal.
Yeah, nice. Nice. Now, you guys are also recently managed by Your Mate Bookings. So tell us a bit about that and what that opens up for you as a band.
Yeah, I might give it to James.
Yeah, this is just a really good opportunity for us as a band to just have that extra level of support behind us. And it's also another layer to, help us be viewed more professionally by other people. Because we all know within ourselves that we're very professional. We all have the same goal. But finding that fifth member as such to really push us forward when it comes to booking domestically, booking on larger tours, booking with other booking agents, and then bigger goals like going international, going to Japan, going to Europe. That's that extra layer that we've been needing, which is just, it'll really allow us to open up to a bigger audience and a bigger market and just really hit the professional level we want to be at.
Yeah, nice. So speaking of touring, you guys have got the album tour coming up from April the 17th. So tell us about that and where you're going.
Yeah, so 17th of April is the release date of the album, and coinciding with that is our Melbourne show. So that's going to be sick. We're playing with Werewolves, Emporium, and Grave Peeler to get things going, and then playing Canberra a couple of days later with Emporium, Vexation, and Black and Dread. Then we a couple of weeks after that we play our hometown Sydney show with Vexation, Horizonous, and Old Goat Smoke, which will be sick. And doing that just to launch the album as well as the social media promos. But it's just good to tour it, support it, and give it views to people that might not necessarily have seen it or seen us before. And then off that, we're going to do nationwide tour with Vexation and Atheist, which will be sick as well.
Speaking of people not maybe seeing you guys before, mate, run us through a typical Anoxia live show. What do we expect from you guys on stage?
Yeah, go for it, James.
Well, ELIAS is sort of the stage juggernaut. He will stand there and he will focus on playing tight, playing in time. He doesn't move a lot, but that's more of just a physical limitation. From Joey, you can expect plenty of head banging, plenty of helicopter head banging, and he will death stare you in the face, and he will make the crowd move like a cauldron. For Marco, he's just got that really old school drumming style that is perfect for this band because he's been around for quite a long time now, 30 plus years in the scene. So you can always expect just killer drumming and being on time. And then for me, I'm sort of a blend of ELIAS and Joey. I will headbang and I'll get the crowd going, but I'll also sit there and I'll focus on the riffs and be on time. And yeah, I think as a group, it really just pulls the whole room together.
Sweet. Now, before I let you go, guys, I've got a new segment I've introduced called Photo Bomb. So basically, before we speak, I troll through your social media and I find a couple of photos that I want to ask you a little bit more about.
Yeah, go for it.
So what I've come up with is, what's going on here, mate? Like the dog doesn't look like it's too fucking happy.
Yeah, this was we were recording drums outside of the Brain recording studio with the band, and this was just this dog across the road, and yeah, he was eyeing us up for sure.
What, he went over to try and pat him because he was eyeing you off?
Yeah, well, there's a fence, so there's only a small level of trust I have for a dog that's behind a fence, but he was I think he just wanted some food, to be honest.
Yeah, they're beautiful dogs, aren't they, Huskies?
So good.
So good. All right. And the other one I found, this one here, looks like a fucking hell of a time.
That was fun. So that was about just under a year and a half ago. We played a boat show with who was it? It was Slaughter Cult, it was King Parrot, it was Dark Horse, and ourselves. And that was just a photo with all the bands and the crew after the day had wrapped up when we were heading back to unload. So that was just a sick show along the Sydney Harbour. Played right before King Parrot, so it was different but awesome in the sense of seeing people crowd surf and circle deaths and whatnot, moshing just on a boat on the Sydney Harbour on a summer's day. It was pretty cool.
What about old mate down the front here? Is he dead?
Yeah.
No, he's not. He could actually be. So that's Tom. He ran the day, did a great job on that. So I think he's just puffed after just a day of smashing out organization and all that.
I actually took that photo, so there you go. I am here in spirit.
There you go, mate. Well, thanks very much for your time, guys. It's been a pleasure. Revel In Sin is out April 17th, followed by a tour around it. So where can people go to find out more or to get your stuff?
They can go through our Facebook, our Instagram. Our Instagram has a link in it as well to all our other pages, even just YouTube clips, websites, merch, whatnot. So good starting point for them. And yeah.